Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, I'm back. I am back. I know it's been a while, but I'm back with yet another one of your favorite mental health awareness videos. Now, firstly, let me just welcome our new and latest subscribers. Thank you so much for joining in the family. Thank you so much for helping us grow. Thank you for the love. We really appreciate it, and we really appreciate having you guys here. So the last time I was here, my brother and I had a bit of a sibling tag, just to have fun, lighten the mood after all the serious talks that we've had prior to that. So before that, I actually uploaded a video sharing my journey with depression with you guys, and I had promised you guys that I would do a follow-up video of how I cope or I've learned to deal and manage my depression. And this is it. Okay, so where do I start? Oh my god, it's been such a journey because all the things that I shared with you were things that happened when I was younger, just the basic things. I didn't touch on everything, and I didn't touch on everything that happened after I was diagnosed and all of those things, so a lot has happened, and as I grew up, I had to learn to cope with, depression. I had to kind of say, okay, you know what, I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of always crying, always being sad, never experiencing what real happiness or real joy is, which is what happened with me, because to be honest, I didn't experience what happiness truly meant until I turned 24. And as ridiculous as that sounds, it is the honest truth. But hey, I'm gonna try and make this video short, so bear with me if it takes a little bit longer. So here goes. This is what I had to do, right? I had to learn a lot of things. I had to learn to incorporate a lot of things into my life. And it wasn't easy. It was not something that I could just do, overnight, and my life would turn out the way I wanted, because I'm still not where I'd hoped that I'd be in my life. I had dreams, I had ambitions, but a lot of things happened, and yeah, I am where I am, a second year social work student. I'd hoped that at this time, I would have had my own family home, probably been married or whatsoever, those dreams that we all have as kids, but then sometimes life doesn't turn out the way we hope. So basically what had to happen is I had to be willing to get out of the state that I was in. So for that to happen, I had to learn to forgive. Learning to forgive means I had to learn to accept apologies that I never got. When someone does something to you and probably they're unaware that they hurt you in a way, or and they just carry on living their own lives, to the fullest, and or whatever, and you just in this zone where you just, bitter and sad and angry at this person because they made your life turn out a certain way, or they did something that hurt you or whatever, which actually that hurts you and not them. They don't care. They're living the best life. And when are you there just like, holding all that anger in and never letting it out? So yeah, I had to learn to accept the apologies that I never got, which means I had to learn to let go and let God. Ever heard of that? Yeah, I had to learn to let go and say, God, I'm letting go of all this bitterness. You take it. You take all this anger. You take all this bitterness, this, all this hurt, this pain. Take it away. I'm done with it now. And that was for my own peace of mind. And as soon as I could learn to forgive, everyone that had a hand or that contributed towards my depression, I actually could feel that inner peace. I don't want to lie, like ngangizizwa ngikhululekile ngathi khona umthwalo osukile mahlombe, and you know that was actually the best feeling at that point in time. So, and as hard as that was, the hardest part was actually to forgive myself. I had to learn to forgive myself because I'd also contributed to being depressed. I had to learn to take responsibility and say, you also had a hand in you know, in your depression. You know, you did things and you didn't want to let them go, and you didn't want to forgive yourself. You kept kicking yourself in the butt all the time. You know, you just so much regret and so much umthwalo uziphathisa wona. You know, it was the hardest thing to learn to forgive myself. It still is. It takes me quite a while to actually to be able to say, okay, surprise wenziphutha. Now let's move on from that. Learn from it and move on. It's actually still hard, but I have to, you know, keep telling it to myself that, you know, you made a mistake and it's okay. Learn from it. Pick yourself up and move on. So, I don't want to show my nails. Broken nails, so yeah, it looks weird. So another thing that I had to do was to learn to stop blaming myself for everything that had happened to me prior. Because, you know, when you're a sensitive and vulnerable person, you tend to take everything personally. When something happens, you look at it and you be like, is it because why is this happening to me? You know, you take the blame for everything. Oh, this wouldn't have happened if bengenze kanje, lento bingekenzeka if bengingekho. Or even deeper, you would say, if bengingaphili emhlabeni, mhlambe ngaba kukho nje, you know, mhlambe ngaba abazali bami abaphili kanje, mhlambe ngabe my mom's not going through this, or my brother's not going through this. You know, you tend to take that uyibeke kuwena. And it's very heavy, and it's a very hard thing for a child to do, and be taking the blame for everything. So I had to literally just learn to stop blaming myself for everything that happens. You know, one thing that helped me through that was my psychologist. When I still used to attend therapy, she said to me this one time that she made an example actually. She said, you know, the difference between you and I is that let's say we're friends and we have a mutual friend, and you and I are walking together and we pass this mutual friend by her house and she's standing by her gate, and we both greet this mutual friend and she doesn't greet back to both of us, and we walk past. Her, as a psychologist, she would literally take that as, oh, the friend is actually having a bad day today, you know, well, I'll talk to her later, or I'll see her later. But me, as the sensitive person and the kind of person that I am, I would actually take that and say, is it me? What did I do to her? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Why is she not, replying? Why? You take all these experiences personally and you take it and you build it upon yourself, which is just, you can't keep doing that. You have to learn to let go. You have to learn to stop blaming yourself for everything. You know, stop taking things personally. That is one of the biggest lessons also that I had to learn. And then another thing that I also had to learn was to accept the way my life had turned out. You know, that was another difficult one for me, because I would literally just go on Facebook or whatever, and I would look at my high school friends or my high school mates, and I would see how they've succeeded with their lives, how their lives have turned out. Oh, Spanban is a lawyer. Oh, Spanban is starting to become indwetile, and people are just carrying on with their lives. And you know, we forget that nabo labo bantu have their own difficulties, have their own problems that they might be facing. Just because bayakwazi bokuqhubeka ngeimpilo zabo doesn't mean ukuthi ayikho into abadlula kuyona, or there's nothing that they're facing, you know. Ngoba siyabantu, we deal with things in different ways. I remember when I dropped out for the first time in university, my depression at that time was at its core. There was a time that I had to stop logging into Facebook and stop social media, and that actually quite helped because I would compare myself, guys, no lies. I was so embarrassed, I was so ashamed of myself, the way my life had turned out. Everything for me was just, going haywire, and everyone's life was just shooting up, and I was wondering what it is that they're doing that I can't do, but I forgot to go see Siabantu, that's funny, like I said. Okay, so yeah, I needed to accept the way my life had turned out, and I needed to say, okay, you are where you are because you were partly responsible for it, and other people were also partly responsible for it, and things that you experienced were also partly responsible for that. So I had to say, okay, now that I'm here, what do I do now? What is it that I want to achieve? So I had to, but I think that's cool. Introspection, yes. I had to do a bit of self-introspection, and and just find out which ways that I went wrong, and how and why, and how do I move on from that. And not that I wasn't doing good things, guys. I wasn't achieving little goals, that I'd set for myself. I was achieving good things, positive things, which I'll share with you some other time. But that wasn't enough. I wanted what I wanted, which at the time seemed very blank or blur, because what I was going through. Okay, so besides that, another thing that I had to do, I'm looking at the time, so I need to be faster. I'm sorry. So another thing that I had to do was learn to love myself. Oh my God, that has taken me forever. Like, when I say forever, guys, I mean forever. I'm still learning to do that this year. I'm still learning to do that today. It has been the most difficult thing for me because I've always been very very insecure with the way I looked, with just everything. And I've always had a very, very, very extremely low self-confidence. If I had to rate my self-confidence from when I was young, from as long as I can remember, it would probably be like a 1 out of 10. That's how bad it was. But that I just had to learn to love myself, and as difficult as it is, I think I'm doing great. I think I'm doing quite great. I think I can see like improvement, and I'm kind of happy with it. Yeah. Okay, so one last thing is, most important, very, very important, you have to learn to guard or protect your heart and your mind. You can't let everything that happens affect you. Like I said, don't take things personally. You have to learn to guard your heart and your mind. Ukuthi kungenani kuhlalani enhlizweni yakho nasengqondweni yakho. You have to be able to control that. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not easy, but you can do it. And then lastly, guys, I had to learn not to give people power over my life. You know when someone says you are stupid or you're dumb? Mina, and I believed it. I used to give people so much power over my life that whatever someone told me about myself, I believed it. Imagine, about me, about who I am. What nonsense is that? Like, how do you believe what someone else tells you about you? You know yourself more. But because you're in a vulnerable state and you just take whatever that someone tells you. I remember, I was so sensitive to a point where if someone had to come and tell me ukuthi yo usidudla mkhulu manje yeza yo ngiphatheke kabini, like I could see that I've gained weight. Yabo umuntu mengafika manje angitshela ukuthi umkhulu sis you've gained weight, like I just laugh it off, and like it's nothing that I take personally anymore, but ngikhula, and the fact that benginemcondo ke ngikhula I probably still do, but yo, like my mom azathi nomconjwana wami yo inhliziyo yami guys, it would break, because I hated that people pointed out things that I already knew about myself. I hated that, so I had to just literally learn not to give power over to give people power over my life. So when someone tells me I'm just like, yeah, oh really, yeah I am, okay. But it's just like something that I brush off, something that I really don't take personally anymore. It's whatever, you know. So you really literally have to learn ukuthi nje abantu abanamandla over your life. Only you can speak power into your life. Only you can speak positivity into your life. Only you can speak a bright future for yourself. You know, zonke lezo zinto nje zenziwa when akuphela umuntu onamandla okuzenza. So yeah, I mean, those are just some of the things. Sorry guys for blowing bare pants. I actually wrote them down because I knew I was gonna forget some of them. But yeah, those are actually some of the things that I've learned, or I've had to learn over the years, that have helped me cope with my depression. You know, there's still those days where I feel like today is just not it, and I'm just crying, and you know, it still happens. It doesn't mean just because you learn these, should I say, skills, I don't know what to call them, that now you're gonna perfect it and uzoyinqoba manje depression no, i-depression akuyona nje into vele nje emqondweni vele nje iphume nje or whatever. It's not something that's in your head, as they tell you, you know. Yeah, so it's things that don't happen overnight, but the more you learn to do them and practice them every single day with every single experience, the better you become at it, you know, just like everything else. Practice makes perfect, right? Bayash, my bish. So yeah, these are some of the things that I've had to learn. I hope that some of them will help you as well. I don't know what other people's coping mechanisms are, but I really hope that me sharing some of mine will help some of you guys cope with the things that you're dealing with. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really sorry I took this long. I didn't mean to, but thank you so much for allowing me into your space and giving me skatseno. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, I love you guys.